Okay, so let me talk a little bit about the midterm exam. So that will be next week. The exam will be an hour and a half. We're going to start the exam at 8:30. I'm not going to have office hours next week. Okay? No office hours at 6:15. I will get here at 7, and from 7 to around 8 o'clock to 8:15, I'll have kind of office hours there. Okay, so I'll have maybe like a last minute review session, office hours. You need to do your studying before then. Okay, but if there were any questions, if there were some concepts that were unclear, you want to do a few example problems, things like that. From 7 to 8:15, I'll do that. Okay, right here in this classroom. And then we'll take a short break, and then at 8:30 we will start the exam, and it will run an hour and a half. Okay? The exam is going to be multiple choice on Scantron, and also a short answer or free response section, similar to the quizzes. Okay, I will provide Scantron forms for you. I will also provide your reference tables for the midterm exam only. Okay? But again, these are for you. These tables are for you to keep safe and bring to class all of the other weeks. You are allowed to have one note sheet, okay, with writing on one side only. All right. I'm going to come around and I'm going to check your note sheets to make sure that you do have writing only on one side. Please don't have anything on the back side. Okay, not even scribbles or doodles or things like that. Just make it clear that you have writing only on one side. 8.5 by 11 letters, sheet of paper, standard size. Don't bring legal paper or something weird, okay? Just regular old piece of paper, writing on one side. I'm going to be very strict about that. I don't want to ruin your day, but I have to be fair. Bring your ID card, so I can check your ID, make sure you are you, not something. All of these rules, I have to put these rules in place because some person was trying to take advantage of things. So every year it's like the list of rules get a little bit longer because there was somebody thought of something that I didn't think of. Okay? Again, no cell phones. Make sure you have your calculator. Make sure it works. If your calculator breaks or something, I won't be able to help you out. I might ask the students if somebody has a spare calculator, but you are at the mercy of someone else, and they might not be willing to lend you their calculator, and that's entirely up to them. So make sure you have a calculator that works. I recommend against purchasing a brand new calculator the day of the exam. Okay, if you want to get a new calculator, get it tomorrow, not the day of the exam, so you have at least a few days to work with it. On the website, I have a listing, just some more description about the midterm, a list of topics that you should know. It's not 100% comprehensive, okay, but it's pretty good. So if you feel comfortable with everything on there, you should do fairly well. I think that's it. Are there any questions? Yes?
Do we have homework due next week?
You do have homework due next week. Yeah, so I will cover Chapter 6 today, and Chapter 6 will be covered on the midterm exam. So we'll cover everything from the first day of class up through today and the stuff covered through today. Yes?
Did you say you will provide the Scantron?
I will provide your Scantron forms for you, okay? So you don't have to spend 25 cents at the store, all right? But it adds up, with the classroom this big, it's like 20-something bucks in Scantron forms twice, so there you go, okay? So I will provide Scantron forms for you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor.
Yeah, you're welcome.
No, seriously, we appreciate that.
Okay. Well, also, I also recognize some of you are coming here right after work and you're barely getting here on time, and maybe you don't go to college normally, so you can't go to Target and buy Scantron forms the night before. You have to plan in advance, go to a university store and things like that. So just so you don't have to deal with that, you'll get Scantron forms, okay? Alright, I think that's it. Yeah, oh, and just basic things like make sure you have a pencil, okay? Like, the Scantron form doesn't read pen, okay? So make sure you have a pencil. And don't come asking me to supply you with all of these basic things that you should have each week you come to class, okay? You guys are adults. All right, so let's talk about Chapter 6 and the normal model. Okay? So first, we're going to start off by going over this table. Okay? We'll talk about this table first. We'll learn how to use this table. And then we'll learn how to use it in the context of problems that we will see. So your table has two sides, A2 and A3. Okay? And the shading on A3 is a little bit funny, but on A2 you see at the top a picture that looks like this. And this is shading. Okay? And it says cumulative probability. This is to remind you that the table, and this is very important, the table always gives you the area to the left of the z-score. Always gives you the area to the left of the z-score. Okay. So what I mean by area is that here we've got this hill. Okay, this is this is known as the normal probability curve. Okay, some of you guys call it the bell curve, but we're going to call it the normal model, normal probability curve. The total area under the curve is 1. Okay, the total area under the curve is 1. I forgot to plug my camera in. So the total area under the curve is 1. Okay, equals 1, or 100%. Okay, that should be automatic. If you see the number 1, it's also equivalent to 100%. So, and I use them interchangeably. Okay. You should be comfortable with that. And the curve is centered at 0. The curve is centered at 0. So, if I take this, and I draw a line at 0, and I shade everything to the left of 0, how much do I have shaded? 1/2, 0.5, right? So the area shaded here is 0.5. Is that okay? All right, so if you flip over to page A3, you will see in the very top left corner, we have 0.0 and 0.00 in the top corner, and you have a little z there. And you see that very first number, that's not in the margins of the table is 0.5000. Okay, so that's saying, basically, if I draw a cutoff at z equal to 0.00, then the area to the left is 0.5000, okay, or 1/2. Right. And everyone is comfortable, I'm assuming, that 0.5 and 0.5000 are exactly the same, right?
Yes.
Good. All right, so does that make sense? That if I draw a cutoff line at 0, I get 0.5, and that's shown in the table at the intersection of 0.0 and the column 0.00. So let's say, here's my curve. Again, the curve is centered at 0. Let's say I come out to 1.24. Okay? So I'm going to go to 1.24, and I'm going to shade everything to the left of 1.24. Okay? So 1.24 is positive, bigger than 0, that's why it's to the right of 0. Whatever I've shaded, it's going to be more than what?
0.5.
It's going to be more than 0.5, but also less than 1. Okay? And we will look this up in our table by going to the row that says 1.2 and the column 0.04. Okay? So here my cutoff is 1.24, and so we look that up by going to the row 1.2 and the column 0.04, and what is the value that I have there? .8925. Okay? So the amount I have shaded here is 0.8925. So if I draw a cutoff at z equals to 1.24, then the area to the left is 0.8925. Is that okay? What if I ask, how much is in this piece over here? How much is over here?
1 minus 0.95.
Well, we know that everything under the curve is equal to 1, right? Or 100% is equal to 1. And I have 0.8925 over here. So that means this piece plus this piece have to add up to 1. So this is equal to 1 minus 0.8924. Which is equal to 0.1076. So the area to the left is 0.892, I'm sorry, 8925. I don't know why I wrote that. 0.8925. So the area to the right of z equal to 1.24 is 0.1075.
Can you just explain again how you went to the 0.04?
Okay, so when you look up numbers in the z table, okay, this normal probability table we call the z table. You're going to look up the first two decimals, or not first two decimals, the up to the tenths decimal place, which is 1.2 in the row, and then the column, you look up the hundredths place. So up to the tenths place, we look up 1.2, and the column, we look up 0.04. Does this make sense to everybody? Are there any questions here? Okay. And to look up things on the negative side of the table, it's also the same. If you look up negative 0.38, I'm going to negative 0.38. On the table, I go to the row that says negative 0.3, and the column that says 0.08. So I go to the row that says negative 0.3, and the column that says 0.08, and I get 0.3520. In the row, negative 0.3, and the column 0.08, I get that this area over here is equal to 0.3520. Are we in agreement here? Everyone was able to find the appropriate numbers on their table? All right, so let's try a few drills. Make sure everybody mark it. So I want you guys to give me the shaded area. Give me the area of the shaded region. How are we doing? Good? Lost? Yes. You're a bit lost? Good? Okay. Well, let's talk. All right. So again, let's just clarify a few things, okay? If we have everything shaded, everything under the curve, if we have shaded, how much do we have shaded? 1, okay? But technically the curve starts off at negative infinity and goes to positive infinity. I mean, you rarely see things past like 3.5, negative 3.5 or positive 3.5, but technically it goes from negative infinity to positive infinity. But anyway, if we have everything under the curve shaded, that's equal to 1. And what we're doing is we're saying, I'm drawing a line somewhere on the number line at these spots marked by z, okay? And so I said if I draw a line at z equal to 0, up there, how much do I have shaded? 1/2. 1/2, okay? And if I draw a line in the positive side at 1.24, how much do I have shaded? I have to look that up in the table, and it tells me that the amount I have shaded is 0.8925. Okay? And if I draw a cutoff line somewhere less than 0, the amount I have shaded is something else. Are we okay? Who's completely lost? Okay. What are we struggling with over here?
So I just want to make sure like every part that's shaded is 1, no matter what shaded is
No.
or not shaded is 1.
No. Okay. No. We're okay. We've got to understand this. Okay. So every time I'm drawing this hill here. Okay. So just you've got this. Got this thing. If I shade everything underneath the hill, how much do I have shaded? The amount I have shaded is 1.00. Okay, is exactly 1. All right. What if I don't shade that much? Okay. What if I draw a line here and I decide to shade only up to that line? How much do I have shaded?
I can't see 0.5, half.
1/2, right? Okay. So I have half shaded and half not shaded, okay? But let's say I decide to draw a line over here and shade up to this thing. How much have I shaded now? We don't know, but we know it's more than 1/2, but less than 1, okay? So just keep this in mind. We're talking about areas here, okay? Areas will never be negative. And if everything under the area maxes out at 1, your answer will never be more than 1, okay? Keep that in mind. If you ever get a negative area, you did something wrong. If you ever get an area of more than 1, you did something wrong, okay? And when you look at the picture, you should be able to see whether your area should be more than 1/2 or less than 1/2, okay? These are your guidelines to make sure you didn't make a stupid mistake. Okay? Because let's say you did your math and you go through the work, and this is your picture, and the area you get is 0.25. We know that's wrong. Why? Because it definitely has to be more than 1/2, right? Can we all see that?
Yes.
Okay. So as you're working, we know this answer has to be what? Like for this problem up here, this one has to be more than 1/2. This one has to be less than 1/2. This one has to be more than 1/2. And this one has to be less than 1/2. Okay, good. If you always ask yourself, let me just draw this picture and just make sure, you will avoid, like, I don't know, a lot of mistakes, okay? Because every time I ask questions on the quiz or the test, I see people who would have avoided the mistake they made if they just stopped and said, should my answer be more than 1/2 or less than 1/2, okay? And obviously, if you're getting a negative answer, it's wrong. And if you're getting an answer over 1, that's also wrong. Okay, these are clear things. Just keep in mind what we should do, okay? So what we have is we have a curve, and we just want to know how much is shaded. And to get the numbers, other than 1/2, 1, or 0, we have to look these up in the table. Okay? So what do we have going on over here? Okay, so wait, who said they were lost? Because I'm going to be picking on you guys, all right? Because the other people, I know some people got it, and they might be like, oh my gosh, we're going so slow. I've got to make sure the ones who are struggling understand. Otherwise, we're going to be lost. Okay, so look up z equals negative 0.41. What are you going to do? You're going to go on your table. What happened to my table? Okay. You're going to go to the negative side of your table, A2. You're going to go to the row that says negative 0.4. And you're going to go to the column that says 0.01. Okay? And what number do you see there? 0.3409. That is the area right here. Okay. Is everybody good there? Anybody still lost? Don't be embarrassed, all right? I would much rather you guys admit that you are lost today than take the midterm exam next week and then I find out that you were lost because you lost a lot of points. All right. Okay. Let's go to the next problem. First off, let's look up z equal to negative 0.26. So let me just call in someone over here. When you look up z equals negative 0.26, what is the number you find?
Negative 0.2.
Yeah, you're looking up z equal to negative 0.26. So what do? You go to the row, z equal to negative 2. You go to the column, 0.06. What number do you see there?
0.3974.
0.3974, okay?
Yeah, baby.
But hang on. When we look at the picture, we know our answer should be what?
Positive.
It's always going to be positive, but we know our answer should be more than 1/2. Right? When we look at the picture, we know the answer should be more than 1/2. So what's going on? Well, the table, remember I told you, somewhere in your notes you should write the table always gives you the area to the left. The table always gives you the area to the left. And so when you looked up z equal to negative 0.26, this number, this is the area to the left. Okay? But look at my picture. Do I have the area to the left shaded or the area to the right shaded?
Right.
I have the area to the right, okay? I mean, we're asking almost like rhetorical question, but this is just to drive the point home. So how do I get this area over here?
Subtract that.
I subtract that from 1 because everything adds up to 1. So this area over here is 1 minus 0.3974. And what is that equal to? What's that? Yeah, 0.6026. All right, who wants to do this one?
0.07?
0.07? All right, let me look that up. 2, it's z equal to 2.07, and I'm asking for how much is shaded to the right of 2.07.
0.0192.
So the answer is 0.0192. 0.0192. How do we do that? We first look up 2.07. Okay, look up 2.07, and when you do that, you get 0.9808. Yeah. Is everybody getting this? Anybody not getting 0.9808? I know it's 9808, but I want to make sure.
So the unshaded area is 0.9808.
Yeah, the area to the left, because the table always gives you the area to the left. The area to the left is 0.9808, but I'm not asking that. I'm asking the area to the right, which is going to be 1 minus 0.9808, and I get 0.0192.
And that's the shaded part, right?
That's the shaded part.
So even though you're asking the area of the shaded region, even if we get that number, for example, with this area to the left, because that was my mistake. When I got the number, it said I'm done. But I
Yeah.
guess the location.
Yeah, you always have to look at where you're shading. Are you shading to the left or shading to the right? Okay? And some of you guys, when you, listen up, stop talking. When you're doing your homework, some of you will just go straight to the numbers and looking up in the table, okay? Some of you can handle that, and that's great. But I think for many of you, it's very helpful to draw the picture and then say, am I shading to the left or shading to the right? Again, when we see this, we know that the answer we get has to be less than 1/2. Okay? We know our answers will always be positive, will always be less than 1, but when we look at a picture, we can say, is it going to be more than 1/2 or less than 1/2? When we see this, we know it's less than 1/2. And so when we get 9808, we say, hey, this can't be the right answer. Oh, that's because it's the area to the left. So to get the right answer, I do 1 minus that, and I get 0.0192. You have a question?
Will we be asked a question without a graph?
Yeah, this is just one step, okay? It's a very important step, but this is, none of the questions I ask will be this easy, okay? This is just one part in solving the problems, but it's a very important part, and I want to make sure we understand this before I try to make it more complicated, okay? All right, so what is our answer over here? .8485. Area to the left of 1.03 is 0.8485. Okay? How do we feel? Good? Good? Better? Okay. We're still going over the steps, the basic uses of the table here. Okay? I'm going to change things up on you. All right. All right. This picture is kind of awful. Let me just fix it a little bit. So I'm going to tell you that this area, the area is equal to 0.5. Now I'm going to ask, where did I draw my cutoff? At 0. Okay, if the area to the left over here is equal to 0.5, the cutoff was drawn at 0. Where did I draw the line? At 0. Can we all see that? Okay. Let's try a harder one. The shaded area equals 0.70. Or actually, not 0.7019. Okay, so the shaded area is 0.7019. where did I draw the cutoff line, or draw the line?
29.
So my shaded area is 0.7019, and I'm asking, where did I draw my line so that the shaded area is 0.7019?
29.
Okay. All right, well, let's see. So the answer is z equal to 0.53. Okay? When we go to our table, so when we look at the picture, we know that our answer has to be positive or negative. Positive, right? Because 0 is right here, and I'm to the right of 0. So I have a positive number. And the area is 0.7019. Okay? So I'm not going to look up like the row 0.7 and the column something else. I'm looking for the area 0.7019, and I'm looking for the z that corresponds to 0.7019. And what do I see? It's in the row 0.5 and the column 0.03. So if I combine this row and this column, what do I get? Z equals to 0.53. Okay? It's not. Do not say z is equal to 0.503. This is not right. Okay? Because this is the hundredths place. So, you know, if you bring it over here like this, you're changing it to the thousandths place. Okay? So z is equal to 0.53. Is that okay? Everyone with me there? Anybody not? You guys are doing okay? In the back.
In order to find the z, you have to find the numbers in the table and combine those numbers together.
Yes. Okay. All right. Sometimes I might put a number up, and you're not going to find that exact number. Like if I said not 0.7019, but 0.70, you're not going to find that exact number. And so in that case, you just have to pick the number that's closest to the number that you're looking for. Okay, so let's try this out. So let's say I have 15%. Where is the line? Okay. So first off, are we going to be looking on the positive side or the negative side?
Negative.
Negative side, right? Because we are below 0. 15%. Okay, don't shout out your answer. Some of you will find it faster than others. You're not going to find 15% exactly, so pick the one that seems closest, or is closest. Questions? You have your answer. Okay, so don't shout it out. Does everyone have an answer in mind? You guys need another second here? Alright, I'm getting z equal to what? Negative 1.04. Negative 1.04. Okay? When you're looking in the table, you'll find two numbers that are very close. 0.1515 and 0.1492. Okay? Which one is closer to 15%? 15% is equal to 1500. This one is 0.0015 away, and this one is 0.0008 away. So which one's closer? That one is. What is the z that corresponds to this? It's in the row negative 1.0 and the column 0.04. Our answer is z equal to negative 1.04. Yes? Is there a question? You don't get it? Okay. Did you get the other part?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. Do you get this part? Yeah? Okay, so what about this one? Okay, okay. All right, so what we're doing here, so before I gave you a z-score, and I told you look in the table, look at that z-score up, and find the area. Okay? This time, I'm giving you the area, and I'm asking what's the z-score that gives you this area? Okay? So when we look up this number, so above what we did was, when we looked at negative 0.38, we would go to the row that says negative 0.3 and the column that says 0.08. Okay? Over here I'm saying look up 0.7019. So I don't go to the row 0.7 and the column 0.019 or something like that. I'm looking where? I'm looking on the answer side, 0.7019, and I'm finding the z that gives me that. And what we find is that the z that gives me that is in the row 0.5 and the column 0.03. Is that better?
Better.
Okay, so over here, I'm asking, and I'm sorry, your name is?
Jennifer.
Jennifer. Okay, so Jennifer, I'm saying we're looking for the z that gives us 15%. So 15% in decimal form is what?
0.15.
0.15, exactly, okay? Now, when we go to the table, we're not going to find 0.15. And again, because we're given the area, we're not going to the row that says 0.1 and the column that says 0.05. Okay? What we're doing is we're going to the answer section that's close to 0.15 as possible. And that number that's closest to 0.15 is 0.1492. Can you find that in your table?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And what row is that number in? Okay. In the row negative 1.0, and what column?
I got it.
You got it?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right. So we're in the row negative 1.0 and the column 0.04, and that's the cutoff, the line that corresponds to a row, to an area of 15%, 0.1492. So are we okay? If I give you a z, you can find the area. If I give you the area, you can find the z. Okay, you got to be, that's one step